Tonight on Philly Sports Spotlight, Tebow or not Tebow? That is the question as the enigmatic quarterback gets an invite to play in Philly. And we enter the asylum where the macho takes on a whole new role as we go mano a mano with a man who knows all there is to know about mixed martial arts. Also, two soccer legends with personal ties bid adieu to football. Good evening once again and welcome to Philly Sports Spotlight inside our Philly Sports Spotlight studios. I'm Phil Andrews and we've got a great show set for you this evening. Now we begin, however, with the Philadelphia 76ers who have yet to fill their vacant head coaching job, but did announce the hiring of a new general manager. His name's Sam Hinkie. His game, numbers and stats, but his first big challenge is what to do about Andrew Bynum.
We were obviously, I was at another team at the time, we were obviously involved in those discussions as well, right? Anytime a young, difference-making player is potentially on the market, I think it's every general manager's duty to be involved and to try to understand what the market clearing price might be and try to understand if you're the most likely partner to partner with that team to make a trade. That included me, that included our staff and people I worked with. When I look at it after the fact, one of the things that I liked and one of the things that made this attractive to me even more was Josh standing up publicly and saying that is a decision I would do again. That is very, very, very important to me. We talk a lot about process, not outcome, and about trying to consistently take all the best information you can and make consistently good decisions. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, and you should reevaluate them all. But the fact that he would stand up after what was considered and is fair to say was such a failure and say that that's a decision he would do again, that means a lot to someone like me.
A decision they would do again. So could the Sixers actually be thinking about trying to re-sign Bynum? All I can tell you is stay tuned for that one. Well, it appears the surgery on Doc Halliday's shoulder was not only successful, but sounds like Halliday might be able to return to action by season's end. According to Dr. Michael Siccardi, Doc could start throwing, some light tossing anyway, sometime in about 6 to 8 weeks. Meanwhile, what's up with Cole Hamels? Prior to last night's game against the Marlins, Cole's record 1-6, but as a team, the Phillies 1-8 in his last 9 starts. Prior, his earned run average 4.61. But here is the real telling stat. Cole had walked 24 batters in 56-plus innings. Last year, Cole walked 52 batters in 215. Now, both Cole and the team say there's nothing physically wrong with the ace, but from where I'm sitting, something is definitely not right. Time now to welcome tonight's first guest to the show. You all know him as former Eagle and Jersey Man magazine publisher, Big Ken Dunek. And I didn't mean to say Kinks. I know how touchy you are about that stuff. And you're joining us this week because it seems like every weekend there's something new with my good buddy and former classmate Chip Kelly as far as the Philadelphia Eagles are concerned. And one of the things he's been doing lately is trying players at different positions. What do you feel about that at this level in the National Football League?
I think it's a stretch, really. I mean, a player has gone his entire high school, college, pro career learning a craft, learning a position, and to do double duty is really a bit of a stretch. You know, there have been some exceptions. Mike Vrabel, Dan Klecko, Deion Sanders ran some with some teams where he ran wide receiver and defensive back, but overall I really don't see much of this.
Right. Yes or no? Could this be the end, beginning of the end for those few players who are being tried at a different spot, you think?
Not necessarily. I don't know what his philosophy is behind doing this. I mean, I'm sure he's got a reason. Maybe it's just to have more flexibility with the roster, but I really don't see much coming of it.
All right. Here's the other big thing that has happened in the last couple of weeks as far as the OTAs, the off-season training program is concerned. Here's something that Chip brought with him from Oregon. Listen to this and tell me what you think. Music at practice, a little AC/DC for you. What do you think about, again, this is something a lot of college teams do. Chip has brought it from Oregon here, and he says it helps the players stay focused. What do you think?
Well, you're talking to an old school guy, but this is the new age of football. You know, they're keeping it light, keeping it fresh. Apparently Chip likes to get them on and off the field in a hurry. Everything's up tempo. You know, hip hop, AC/DC. These are things that are kind of foreign to the way the game was played when I was in the NFL. But you know, let's give some credit to Chip Kelly. He's going to bring his style into the Philadelphia Eagles, and if this works, you know, he'll be a hero.
Yeah, but you talked about when you played. I mean, who can get into the focus of things when you listen to Casey and the Sunshine Band?
Leather helmets.
Because back when you played,
Yeah,
I know you had plastic helmets, but Casey and the Sunshine Band back in the 80s wouldn't have
Love
worked.
Casey and the Sunshine.
Okay, get down tonight. Anyway, here's the other big topic, and this is now we moved on from Chip Kelly. This guy is a lightning rod, and every time you bring up his name, people have mixed reactions. You know what I'm talking about. Number 5, Donovan McNabb. He announced recently, now he's been gone from Philly for 3 years. He announced recently he's going to come back and retire as an Eagle, and all of a sudden it set off a firestorm. Your thoughts?
Yeah, there's a distinction between retiring as an Eagle and having your number retired, and I think that's where this controversy is coming about. I think McNabb should retire as an Eagle. I think it's the right thing to do. I think he should do it right now. Great player for the franchise. Led us to a Super Bowl. I mean, I think that he's deserving of that right. As far as retiring his number is concerned, I think it's a little premature. You know, that has been reserved in the past for names like Bednarik and Van Buren and Tommy Brookshire and Pete Retzlaff. And, you know, I think that they should wait a few years to see if history proves that, you know, McNabb is deserving of that honor.
Okay, we'll see. I know that he wants to come back and do it on that Thursday night game when his old coach comes back, and that's another whole thing. I think that's a good night to do it because Andy Reid's the guy that drafted him. What better night to come back and do it? His old coach is there. You okay with that?
I'm fine with it. Hey, Andy didn't endear himself to the Philadelphia fans when he left
Right.
without holding a press conference. So they're bringing back the guys. You know, Reid drafted McNabb. I think that's a good idea.
All right, Chip has been brought in all kinds of new players. Right now, you know, they have a really nice stable of running backs, but recently they signed a former Dallas Cowboy to Felix Jones. I mean, is that worth it? Worth the sign? It's only 1 year.
Hey, listen, Sonny Jurgensen was a Redskin at one time. I mean, you know, you can't have enough good players at the running back position. You've got Shady McCoy, you've got Brant Brown. Adding Jones, I think, is a great move because, you know, you're only 1 or 2 injuries away from being on the field. So as much depth as you can get at the running back position is a good thing.
And especially in this offense where we know, or we think anyway, they're going to try and run the ball a lot. Speaking of running the ball, Wildcat comes to mind when it comes to quarterbacks. Your good friend and former teammate, Ron Jaworski, has sent out an invite, if you will, to some guy named Tebow. I think you know who I'm talking about. He's actually invited Tebow to come to Philadelphia to play for his indoor team, the Philadelphia Soul, but as a backup. Your thoughts on what Ron's trying to do there?
Well, Ron's always been a good businessman, and I think selling tickets would be something that Tim Tebow would bring to the table as far as attractiveness is concerned. As a football player, I'd give him a shot. I know Dan Raudenbaugh is ready to go as a sole quarterback, but give Tebow a chance.
Give Tebow a chance. And we know all this kid does is win. He won at the college level.
He's a champion. He's a great guy.
But he's not a quarterback. Do you agree?
I don't necessarily agree. The guy in his only chance took Denver to the playoffs. I know he doesn't have the greatest style in the world, but Johnny Unitas wasn't the prettiest guy to look at. Joe Montana didn't have a great arm. If Tebow's going to win, let him play.
Do you think he can play another position? Oh, you and I talked right before the show. Could he play tight end? Could he play H-back?
I think he could. He's a great athlete. You know, Michael Robinson switched positions, the Penn State quarterback.
Penn State, right.
He's playing for San Francisco. So Tebow could do it, but he seems intent on being a quarterback.
All right, much like Donovan McNabb was.
He was a good one.
Listen, if we could talk about Donovan McNabb, our other guests would have to go home right now because you and I could go for a whole
you and I got into a wrestling
I got
match
some
in the
great
green-
people
in the
coming.
green
No,
room,
I got
so-
some great.
All right.
We got some great people coming up on tonight's show. Listen, before I let you go, we do this all the time. When you're not here bothering me, what is it you're doing?
Thanks for that great introduction. Will. I'm the publisher of Jersey Man Magazine. Men's Interest, if you like golf, martinis, cigars, take a look at jerseymanmagazine.com.
And by the way, good thing you got to Ilya now because it doesn't sound like Ilya's going to be around much
Might
longer.
be in outer space.
As you got, no, he is in outer space, but he may be out of town.
Yep.
Ken Dunnick, thank you very much.
Good to see
Okay,
you. Thanks
and I
for
know you're
being
excited about next week. They actually have a real training camp coming up. These are all OTAs right now.
Right.
Okay, so they're going to
Get
start.
the pads on.
They're going to
Make
get the
them
pads
sweat.
on
Let's go.
and do some hitting.
That's right.
All right, if you like mixed martial arts, then you're going to enjoy what we have coming up next. After the break, we check out the Asylum Fight League. Stay tuned. Tonight's Philly segment was sponsored by Virtua Joint Replacement Institute, the home of the quad sparing knee replacement. For more information, call 855-VIRTUA-3.